Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take your stack of source material and distill it down to the essential insights you need to know. Today, we are digging deep into, well, what many consider the engine room of the economy, the construction industry. And when you think about construction, the picture that comes to mind is still pretty analog.
Hard hats and blueprints.
Exactly. Hard hats, blueprints, concrete mixers. It gets tagged as this low-tech, slow-moving sector.
Mm-hmm.
But that view is just so outdated.
Oh, completely.
Over the last decade, technology has totally revolutionized the space. We're talking about complex modeling software, VR for site walkthroughs.
Before a single shovel hits the ground.
Yeah, and on-site 3D printing, drones monitoring progress in real time. It's a different world.
It's a seismic shift, for sure. The whole industry is moving away from purely manual processes. But here's the thing about these big transitions. They don't happen by themselves.
Right.
The real challenge for leaders isn't just, picking the right drone or the right software. It's getting their teams and their entire process to actually adapt to it.
And that's where things get complicated.
Very. And we have a pretty sobering statistic to start us off that really sets the stakes for this whole deep dive. According to a McKinsey report, up to 70% of organizational change initiatives fail.
70%? Wow.
70. Now think about that failure rate applied to a massive construction project. A few months of delay can mean millions in costs.
That statistic is brutal.
Yeah.
So if the industry is adopting all these new digital tools, but 70% of the initiatives to use them fail, it means the problem isn't the tech.
Exactly. The disconnect is the management of that change.
Wow.
So our mission today is to basically extract that structured process, the roadmap that construction leaders need to execute change management the right way.
The approach that, minimized all that disruption and risk.
Exactly, and maintains the quality and schedule on these huge, often billion-dollar projects.
Okay, so let's define our terms. When we say change management or CM in construction, what are we actually talking about?
At its core, it's the structured, formal process for handling any and every alteration that pops up during a project.
So changes to the scope, the design.
Yep, scope, design, materials, the
Yeah.
schedule, the cost. It's the system you have to make sure every deviation is properly requested
Okay.
and then rigorously assessed, documented, and crucially approved by everyone who needs to sign off.
Before it gets integrated back into the plan. So no surprises.
No surprises. That seamless integration is the key to avoiding chaos. I mean, effective CM is what gives a project the ability to adapt.
Because construction is so unpredictable.
Inherently unpredictable. You hit weird soil conditions, a client changes their mind, new regulations drop. You have to be able to pivot.
And when you manage that proactively, the payoff is huge, I assume.
It's immediate. You optimize costs because you're not doing rushed, expensive fixes. You cut down on delays. You stay on budget.
And you end up with happier clients.
And much stronger partnerships. It really all follows the same high-level path. You prepare, you assess, you design the fix, you implement it, and then you monitor it constantly.
Okay, let's unpack that. Let's get specific. What are the common types of changes that would trigger this whole formal process?
Well, our sources break them down into a few key categories.
Design changes must be a big one. Altering the layout or materials.
That's number one. Then you have scope changes.
Right, the classic, can we add another wing?
Exactly. Additions or dilutions to what was originally agreed on. And of course, those immediately cause cost changes and schedule changes. They all cascade.
Those four feel like the main culprits.
They are, but there are two others that have a massive impact. Regulatory changes are becoming more and more common.
New safety rules, that kind of thing.
Exactly. New worker protection laws, stricter material codes. If you fail to comply, you could get shut down on the spot.
And the last one is just the unexpected.
The complete surprises. Unforeseen changes. You find an ancient burial ground on site, your main funder cuts the budget, a global pandemic hits.
Right, things you just cannot plan for.
And those require the fastest, most agile response. That whole list really shows why a formal CM process isn't just, nice to have. It's mandatory risk mitigation.
It sounds like change is inevitable, but chaos is a choice.
That's a great way to put it. Chaos is a choice. And the why behind having a process really boils down to a few unavoidable truths in construction today.
Okay.
First, like we said, unforeseen site conditions are still the number one driver. You can do all the surveys in the world, but you never know what you'll find.
And second is technology.
Right. The constant need to adapt to new digital tools. CM helps manage the human side of that, getting people to actually use the new software. And third, those regulatory changes we mentioned, they're non-negotiable.
You can't argue with them.
You can't. Building codes get stricter every year. CM ensures you comply and you avoid the massive legal headaches that could sink a project.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the why. Let's get into the how-to. I pulled out a really clean 6-step roadmap for managing change, from the moment it's identified all the way to the end.
Let's walk through it.
Step 1, identify and evaluate the change. This is the foundation, right? You have to be brutally honest here.
Absolutely. The team has to answer 3 key questions. What is the real need for this change? How long is it really going to take? And what could go wrong?
That feasibility check seems critical,
It's everything. That evidence is what you take into the next step.
which is step 2, apply for approval. And this, from what I've read, is where the whole process can grind to a halt.
This is the friction point, the bottleneck.
And here's where it gets, frankly, a little crazy. Construction projects are so bureaucratic, especially public ones,
Oh, the layers of approval. Local, state, federal, regulatory bodies.
each with their own timeline. And our sources found something from a company, Greenlight Technologies. They found that, depending on the complexity, this approval process can take as long as 3 years.
3 years
Can you believe that? 3 years just to get a change approved.
just for the rubber stamp. A 3-year lag can absolutely destroy a project's finances. It's not a delay anymore, it's a financial crisis.
So what's the practical tip here? How do you fight that?
You prepare. You standardize everything before you submit. Have templates for all your change orders, your proposals, your logs.
So you make it as easy as possible for them to say yes.
Exactly. You reduce the errors, you cut down on the back and forth, and you can dramatically speed up those reviews.
Okay, so you've got approval. Now it's step 3. Develop a comprehensive change plan. This is the blueprint for the change itself.
Right. And it's not just updating the design. You have to think about the ripple effects across the whole project.
You mean across engineering, procurement?
In the whole EPC lifecycle. Engineering, procurement, and construction. If you change a material in the engineering phase, what does that do to your procurement contracts? How does it affect the team on site?
And if the change is a new piece of software?
Then the plan absolutely must include training and support. You have to budget for it, plan for it, and make sure your IT team is ready. You can't just throw new tech at people and expect them to adopt it.
That makes sense. Okay, the next few steps seem to shift focus more to the people side of things.
Which, as we know from that 70% stat, is where things usually go wrong.
Step 4. Communicate the change across the team. We all know communication is key. What does good communication actually look like on a busy construction site?
It means clarity and immediacy. You need to establish crystal clear channels, not just sending an email that no one reads.
So using digital tools to push alerts to people's phones.
Yes, and involving everyone, from the superintendent down to the subcontractors. But more than that, it's about culture, fostering openness, actually asking for feedback on the change itself, and being ready to listen.
Got it. And that leads to step 5. Implement the change and establish feedback loops. This is where the rubber meets the road.
This is the test, and it requires meticulous coordination and following that plan from step 3.
So it's about continuous monitoring.
Continuous. You don't just note issues, you address them immediately. And you use formal feedback loops, surveys, audits to document what you learned. You turn that risk into knowledge for the next project.
And finally, step 6. Conduct a final review. This feels like the step that's easiest to skip when you're rushing to finish.
It is, but it's mandatory. You have to document everything. The reasons for the change, the final cost, the schedule impact, everything.
Why is that final paper trail so critical?
Because it's your audit trail.
Yeah.
It's your learning tool. You look at what actually happened versus the plan. Why did it cost more? Why did it take longer? You review your own process to see how you can do better next time.
And you communicate all that back to the client and the team.
You have to. It's essential for organizational growth and, honestly, for protecting yourself from future disputes.
That roadmap is incredibly clear. But just having a structure isn't enough. We need to talk about the best practices, the cultural things that make the process actually work.
Exactly. The things that make that 70% failure rate irrelevant for your firm.
So best practice 1, create a change management roadmap. A high-level one.
Yeah, this is strategic. It facilitates clear communication about your goals and timelines. It boosts morale because everyone knows what's happening.
And the practical benefit.
You slash the risk of misunderstandings and disputes. When everyone can see potential changes coming down the pipe early on, the whole team can make better, more proactive decisions instead of just reacting to crises all the time.
Okay, best practice number 2. Set expectations for building a culture of change. It really does all come down to the people.
It hinges on the workforce culture. Your stakeholders have to feel informed and valued, not just ordered around.
And it's not just about sending more memos.
Not at all. There was a study of 235 employees that found that meaningful communication, meaning explaining the why behind the change, not just the what. That kind of communication had a huge positive impact on employee engagement and job satisfaction. People need to understand the rationale to buy in.
And that buy-in leads directly to our third best practice, which is implementing new technology strategically.
Right. You can't manage these complex, constantly changing projects with clipboards and spreadsheets anymore.
So what specific tech really moves the needle on CM?
The biggest one is BIM building information modeling. It's so much more than a 3D drawing.
It's like a digital twin of the project.
Exactly. A dynamic, shared digital representation. It allows teams to spot clashes between, say, plumbing and electrical systems digitally before any concrete gets poured. It saves an incredible amount of rework.
And things like project management software.
Essential. For speeding up that approval process in step 2 and just making sure everyone is working from the same single source of truth.
All right, last one. Best practice number 4. Focus on long-term sustainability and green construction. This feels less like a choice and more like a requirement now.
It is rapidly becoming standard practice. It means making changes that reduce energy use, water use, and waste. Using renewable materials, integrating solar, green roofs.
And there's real money behind this shift, isn't there?
Oh, yeah. The data shows the green building market in the U.S. hit over $83 billion in 2021. That's up massively from just a few years before. The firms that are proactive about this are the ones who are going to win.
This has been a fantastic breakdown. We've gone from that scary 70% failure rate to a detailed 6-step plan with a set of real-world best practices.
And if we just zoom out for a second, mastering this process leads directly to better cost control, better schedules, fewer conflicts, and way more transparency.
It gives you the adaptability you need to compete.
It's the only way to keep up with the evolving standards we talked about.
So that's really the main conclusion from our sources. A structured change management process is the essential bridge. It's what gets the construction industry from those old manual reactionary methods to a fully digital, sustainable, and optimized future.
That's it, exactly. If you can handle change well, you can handle any project.
A perfect summary.
And as you think about how hard it is to implement these changes, here's one final provocative thought for you to consider.
Okay.
If we agree that effective change management is defined by clear documentation and transparent communication, how often does a company's own cultural reluctance to embrace new digital tools, the very tools that provide that clarity, directly contribute to that initial 70% failure rate? It's often the rigidity of the culture, not the steel, that breaks first.